Homeschool fear number 2. Okay? This is another thing people are very worried about when they're deciding whether or not they want to homeschool. And that is that they feel that their own education is inadequate. So I want to share 4 reasons that this is a farce, that there is no reason you need to let this get in the way of you homeschooling. So number 1 is, where did your education come from? Okay, if you feel like your education is inadequate, then maybe that's the first light bulb that should be going off in your head. If you went through public school and you don't think you know enough to teach your children, then why would you send your children right back into the same place so they can come out feeling inadequate and uneducated? Okay, so do not let that be an excuse, because your children will have the same type of education that you had if you send them off to public school. Number 2, you can learn right along with your kids. I cannot tell you how many things I have learned with my children. I left school not liking history. I left school with like a 3rd grade reading level. I left school, hating books. I was horrible at math. None of these things are things that you want for your children, right? I had trouble even counting back change at jobs that I had. You want to do better than that, right? So you want to make sure that you can learn right along with them, because there is nothing wrong with that. You will start to learn to have your own curiosity sparked, and you will get hungry for knowledge just like a child did when you start homeschooling your kids, because they're going to ask questions. And even if you think to yourself, well, I don't know that, you can tell your kids that. It's okay to say, I don't know. Let's go discover it. My children and I have learned so much history that it blows my mind. I love history now. I have taught myself how to love books and how to improve my reading so my children will love books, because I wanted to set an example. I didn't have all the skills right off the bat. Yes, I wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid, but I definitely was a far cry from having a good enough education to do that. Now, I don't want to bother being a teacher because I have my own kids to teach. So, don't forget that you can learn right along with your kids. That includes math, that includes science, that includes history. So don't let that hold you back. Number 3, your point of view could actually be a superpower for your children. So our children obviously are made up of our genetics, right? So it is highly possible that your children could have the same challenges, the same smarts. They can have the opposite. But if you have a child who has a similar challenge, you'll be able to remember how that felt and maybe ways that you were able to overcome that challenge. So for instance, my younger 2 children, my youngest daughter, my daughter, she had a little bit of trouble learning how to read. And it was almost like watching myself. We would do something as simple as little books that had like 3 or 4 words on a page, and they'd have repeating words, right? So you could learn them. And we'd go from one page to the next. She'd forget it. She'd already forget the word from the next page. The words could literally be on the same page right next to each other. Say if there was 2 lines, she would not remember it from one line to the next. And that was me exactly. So I had to remember this and had to remember not to get frustrated, because I remember teachers and my parents getting very frustrated with me, like, you just read that. How can you not remember? And even if I had pointed out, like, hey, look, it's right here, I kept it light and fun. So don't worry if you had challenges learning, because it will help you out with your children as you are learning right along with them and you're homeschooling them. Okay? Number 4, the 4th reason why you should not worry about being inadequate in your own education is that you then could be the person to give your children the most amazing educational experience, right? So this doesn't require tons of money or anything. This could be as simple as being able to spend time outside, right? You don't get to do that at school anymore. Recess is super short. Your children are pretty much indoors all day, and their little bodies are made to be outside and exploring. You can read them really good books that give them a great base in literature, where the books these days, they're like getting worse and worse because their schools are getting rid of a lot of the classics, reading more of just the current day literature just because children like it better. But that doesn't provide a great education. That's just entertainment. So you can make the choice. Like, I did not like Shakespeare, but guess what? At one point, my husband and I decided, know what? We're going to like Shakespeare. And my kids love Shakespeare now. They enjoy it. They do not mind watching it. So don't let you thinking that your inadequate education, that you don't have, you don't know enough information, that you had trouble learning when you were a kid. All of these can be superpowers for you. And then create the education that you wish that you had. And if you do that, your children will greatly benefit. There's no way that them being in a classroom all day long with 30 other children, that they're going to get the quality of education that you can give them, because you can give them more one-on-one attention. You can be creative and be able to create experiences that are related to what they're interested in, and they will love learning, love it. So don't let fear number 2 of having an inadequate education stop you from homeschooling your kids, because for all you know, it could be exactly what they need.